Want to start a reselling business but you don't have any money to invest? In this video, I'm going to show you a step-by-step process to start up a reselling business with $0. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Taylor and I'm a part-time Poshmark reseller. I recently just hit $100,000 in sales on Poshmark, and I'm gonna explain to you guys what I would do to start a reselling business in 2025. So I just sell on Poshmark, so that's gonna be the focus of this video. And I also think Poshmark is super easy for beginners. So if you've never listed anything online, you're brand new to reselling in general, then Poshmark I think is a really good place to start because their shipping process is so easy compared to other platforms. Once your business starts to grow, then you can focus on cross-listing to eBay. I mean, you can do what you want. You can start off with cross-listing. That's also fine, but I'm just gonna stick to Poshmark in this video. Okay, so the first step, we're gonna start with the items that you already have in your house. So clothing, shoes, linens, electronics, just anything that you think has some value that you don't use anymore, you don't need it. Any decor, that kind of thing. Okay, so once you've gathered up your items from home, the first thing you wanna do is start listing them. The first day I would list, probably like 20 items if you can find that, and then try to list a few items every single day. Maybe set some aside and kind of come up with a plan, which items you're gonna list which day. I think that would work, but definitely consistency is key. The more active you are on these platforms, the more visibility your items will get. If you miss a day, that's okay, but I really would try to stick to a process where every day you're listing, because that helps with the Poshmark algorithm and it helps you receive more sales. So you might be asking yourself, how do I create a listing that will sell? So the first thing you want to do is you want to use up all of the characters in the title space. I think the max characters on a Poshmark listing is 100. You definitely want to include keywords, what the brand is, maybe the size. There's all these different things that you can include in the title to grab the buyer's attention. Photos definitely matter. So you want to aim to take about 5 to 6 photos of each of your items. If you're taking a picture of like a jacket, you want to take a full frontal picture, back, the materials tag, the name brand, maybe something special about the garment, something like that. I recommend using like a white background or something very plain so that the item pops out to the customers when they're scrolling through, trying to figure out what they want, versus if you have a busier background, it's harder for that item to stand out. I would definitely focus on taking photos during the day when there's natural light, because I think that's the best kind of lighting. Another thing to focus on if you're selling on Poshmark is share your closet. Sharing your items daily boosts visibility. So that is definitely a big thing on Poshmark, is to share your item. I would do this at least a few times a day. Especially starting out, you won't have as many items in your closet, so you can share it more frequently. You don't need to share other people's items or like follow them, those kind of things. You really don't need to focus on that. I would just focus on your closet and sharing your items, because that's what helps the best with the Poshmark algorithm. Okay, so you're gonna start to see likers on your listings in Poshmark, and you can send an offer to likers. So I usually stick to about 25%. Once somebody likes it, you can go in, send them an offer of 25% off your listing price, and that really helps generate some sales. That is the main way that I make sales on Poshmark, is by sending out offers to likers, and then they go ahead and accept that, or they might counter, something like that. It definitely keeps the buyer engaged on your item, and who doesn't love an extra sale off of your already discounted item? Okay, so while you're waiting for these sales to happen, and while you're making your new listings daily with the items in your house, I want you to educate yourself. So watch more YouTube videos on things that are selling on Poshmark. You can just type in things that sell on Poshmark, and people will be showing you in real time the things that are selling for them. Make a list of brands that are BOLO brands, or be on lookout for. Start thinking about keywords and aesthetics that are trendy. And another way that I like to look for brands and just familiarize myself with them is just by like going to the mall, going to the department stores, looking at the brand tags, looking at the silhouettes, the styles of items, going online and seeing, like, go to Revolve, Shopbop, these kind of things, and you can see what is selling and what's on trend right now. Okay, next I'm gonna talk about shipping on Poshmark. I know that can be a hot topic and kind of like intimidating, but I promise it's pretty easy. The customer pays for the shipping costs on Poshmark, so you don't need to worry about like upfront costs or anything like that when it comes to shipping. Once you make a sale, a label will get emailed to you. You'll need to print that off, and then to get a package, you just need to go to USPS and you can pick up their priority mailers, like their envelopes, their boxes, that kind of thing. They're free, and put your item in one of these mailers, put the label on top, and then drop it off at USPS. It's a pretty easy process. And then I wouldn't worry about any like packaging materials when you first start out, because that's just putting more money into it. I wouldn't worry about like thank you cards, that kind of thing. I would just pass on it and just start getting items out the door and focus on just generating sales. Okay, step 2 is definitely the fun part. So once you start making sales with the items that you have in your home, I would just leave the balance in the Poshmark account. And once it gets large enough, maybe like $50 to $100, you can deposit it into your bank account, and then you can use that money to reinvest into your business by buying inventory. So where to buy inventory? The number one place I would recommend, especially when you're first starting out, is the Goodwill outlet or the Goodwill bins. The Goodwill bins is a great place to start because you just pay by the pound there. So at my bins, it's $1.79 per pound. So what you do is you sift through all of these big bins, and you can load up your cart and you go to the cash register and they'll weigh your cart, and it's just $1.79 per pound. So pretty easy, and that is what I find to be the cheapest cost of goods. So more places that you can go to source inventory is just regular thrift stores, like your Salvation Armies, your just regular Goodwill stores, those kind of things. You can also go on like Whatnot, those kind of things, but you are paying more at these kind of places. So you just really need to be mindful and be confident when you do hit buy. Some other places are liquidation. You can buy like pallets. I've seen people do that. Or you can do retail arbitrage. That's another way. Again, these are more expensive items. So if you want your cost of goods low, I recommend going to the Goodwill outlet or regular thrift stores and starting out that way. So you might be asking, how do I choose what to buy? So I have 3 non-negotiables when I'm deciding in the store what I should buy. So my first non-negotiable is the price. So the price has to be low, it has to be reasonable, and to know what a good price is for an item, you have to check comps. What I mean when I say to check comps, it just means that you're looking at the completed or sold listings of similar items to see how much they've recently sold for. This helps you figure out the market value of an item so you don't overpay when sourcing or price it too high when listing. You want things to be moving, and to do that is to check comps. Another non-negotiable for me is the condition. So the condition of these items has to be in great condition. Like, I do not want to deal with holes or like a lot of washwear or pilling or shrinkage. I want these items to be in great condition because it helps me go through the process quicker. I don't have to spend time trying to fix items or talking about it in the listing or returns, things like that. I really just want the item to be in great condition. The third non-negotiable for me is the substantial value. So I am not picking up tank tops. I'm not picking up like little t-shirts. I like to pick up, big sweatshirts or jumpsuits, dresses, coats, jackets, jeans. Like, I like when it's a bigger item that was worth more, because usually, not always, but usually if it was worth more, then I can get more resale value, but not always. But a lot of the times that's what happens. Okay, so next, when choosing what to buy at the store, there's these 4 items that I always consider, and I have to have at least 3 of these checked off. So the first one is style. Is this item trendy? When you are looking at the bloggers on Instagram, are they wearing these kind of pieces? Another is size. So bigger sizes tend to do better. It depends on the brand, but they do tend to do better. Sizes like extra small, 0s, 2s, I really try to stay away from those. The third is material. So if this is polyester, that kind of thing, I tend to stay away from it. The more natural sustainable materials tend to do better. So like 100% cotton, cashmere, wool, those kinds of things, linen. Those are the kind of materials that you want to be searching for. And the fourth is brand. So you definitely want to pull out your list that I was talking about earlier in the video that you created on brands that sell. Some brands can do really good and sell very quickly. Right now I know Viore is selling really well and quickly, so that's a brand to be on the lookout for. So let's apply this decision-making process to this example. So I ended up picking up this dress and it hit all 3 non-negotiables. So the price I paid for this was about $7 or $8 in the thrift store. Comps looked good. I was able to list this for $75. The condition was new with tags, so that was awesome. And then also this piece was substantial, it being a dress. When we go over to the 4 conditions, it hit the style mark. So I feel like this is a newer piece within Anthropologie. It's like a boho, so it's very on trend. The material was like a cotton rayon blend, which I'm okay with that. And then the brand, again, this was an Anthropologie, which is a very reputable and sought after brand. Now the size was a 2 petite, which I don't love selling that. I wish it was more like a size 14 or something like that. But since it hit all of the non-negotiables and then 3 of the 4 conditions, I picked this piece up and I'm confident that it'll sell. Step 3, grow your business. So we went to the thrift store, we have these new items. We're gonna list them on your Poshmark and we're gonna continue daily listing to aim for consistency. So at first you'll reinvest all of your profits to build your inventory. You won't see big profits right away, but just stick to it and keep listing. Make sure you're growing your closet and getting more listings every day. Once you start to see a steady stream of sales and consistent sales, then you can start paying yourself out. And this is when you'll start to see your reward for all of your hard work. Most people do tend to quit before they get to this point, which is understandable. It's kind of a lot of work up front before you start to see the reward, but it's definitely worth it once you have an established business and you're just kind of keeping up with it. That's kind of where I'm at with my business, and it's just so much easier once you reach this point. But definitely growing it and getting that inventory level high was definitely one of the hardest parts. And once you start doing that, you can start investing in equipment. So like umbrella lights, there's hangers, rolling racks, D-pillars, things like that. That'll just make your business easier. Okay guys, so that's it. Starting a reselling business with $0 is definitely possible. You don't need a big budget, just consistency, a willingness to learn, and a little bit of hustle. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, especially if you like reselling content.